Multimeter. As the name implies, a multimeter is a device that can be used to measure multiple quantities. When a single device is used to measure multiple quantities, the device is called multimeter. Analog multimeter. An analog multimeter is a permanent magnet moving coil, PMMC, meter-type measuring instrument. It works on the principle of d'Arsonval galvanometer. The analog multimeter has an analog display that uses the deflection of a pointer on the scale to indicate the level of measurement being made. The pointer deflects from its initial position increasingly as the measuring quantity increases. Working of analog multimeter. Since the analog multimeter is a PMMC type instrument, so when a current is passed through its coil, the coil moves in a magnetic field produced by the permanent magnet. A pointer is attached with the coil. When current flows in the coil, a deflecting torque acts on the coil that will rotate it by an angle, so the pointer moves over a scale. A pair of hairsprings is attached to the spindle to provide the controlling torque. Analog multimeter measuring quantities. A typical analog multimeter can measure following electrical quantities. 1. DC voltage. 2. AC voltage. 3. DC current. 4. Resistance. The analog multimeter acts as an ammeter with a low series resistance to measure direct current. For high currents measurement, a shunt resistor is connected in parallel with the galvanometer. With the shunt resistor, an analog multimeter can measure currents in the ranges of milliamperes or amperes. By adding a multiplier resistor, an analog multimeter becomes a voltmeter and can be used for the measurement of DC voltage in the ranges of millivolts or kilovolts. By adding a battery and a network of resistors, the analog multimeter can work as an ohmmeter. By changing the value of shunt resistance in resistor network, different values of resistances can be measured. By adding a rectifier unit in the analog multimeter circuit, the AC voltages and currents can also be measured. Block diagram of analog multimeter. Here, two switches S1 and S2 are used to select the desired meter. It also has a rotary range selector switch to choose a particular range of current, voltage, and resistance. Operation of analog multimeter. The analog multimeter is very easy to use. With the knowledge of how to make voltage, current, and resistance measurements, it is only necessary to know how to use the analog multimeter. For the measurement of current and voltage, there is no need of batteries in the analog multimeter. But, if resistance is to be measured, batteries need to be installed in the multimeter. Steps for the use of analog multimeter. 1. Insert the probes into the correct connections. 2. Set switch to the correct measurement types and range for the measurement to be made. While selecting the range, ensure that the maximum range is above than that is expected. The range of multimeter is then optimized for the best reading. 3. Once the measurement is completed, it is wise precaution to place the probes into the voltage measurement sockets and set the range to maximum voltage. In this way, if the meter is accidentally connected across a high voltage point, there is a little chance of damage to the multimeter. Advantages of analog multimeter. 1. It gives the continuous reading, thus a sudden change in signal can be detected, which is not possible with digital multimeter. 2. Analog multimeter are very cheap. 3. All measurement can be made using a single meter only. Disadvantages of analog multimeter. 1. They are bulky and larger sized. 2. Multiple scales, these can cause confusion. 3. Low input resistance. 4. Analog multimeters do not have autopolarity function. Therefore, it is necessary to connect probes correctly. 5. Less accurate than a digital multimeter.